Think outside the box. This is a t-shirt that's put out by the Life is Good guys. Don't you just love them? They are such a great reminder to do what you like and like what you do. And since I don't even own a television, I particularly like this shirt. I spend a lot of my time thinking outside the box, and no time at all watching television. So that's probably one of the reasons that beekeeping seemed like a perfectly reasonable pursuit to me. Never mind the apparent lunacy of sticking one's hands into a box filled with stinging insects. These little bugs were just magical, totally fascinating, much better than what you find on television. So I set out to know more. So off I went to bee school, as you do, and I learned about bees, and about the keeping of bees, and many other things bee. And then, on the very last day of the very last class, we had this big Q&A session. Timidly raising my hand, I asked, what did bees do before beekeeping? Yep, you could have heard that proverbial pin drop. I was shocked. Did nobody know the answer? Was nobody telling? Had I spoken the unspeakable? Since that day and that Q&A, I've heard a lot of answers to that question, and I've even made up some new ones of my own. But that very loud moment of silence sent me down a new path. That path led me to question most everything I'd learned in bee school. When you think that bees have existed on this planet for many millions of years, and us humans for a mere 100,000, that's pretty humbling, or it should be. So I set out to discover what bees did before we came along. The next slide shows us the essence of what bees do when they're left to their own devices. The honeycomb inside a beehive serves as both the heart and the skeleton of the bee colony. The bees make thousands of those little six-sided cells from teeny-weeny wax flakes, secreted from itty-bitty little wax glands in their bellies, and they arrange them in the hive according to an intuition that only bees know. But this is the kind of skeleton you find inside a square box beehive. This is a piece of foundation inserted into a square frame and presented to the bees to help them make honeycomb. Foundation is a sheet of beeswax that comes pre-printed with hexagons, as if bees needed to be taught about how to make hexagons. Primary problem with those pre-printed hexagons is this. Each and every one of them is the very same size. This is no surprise, no evil master plan. It's just that foundation is made by a machine, and machines know very little about the magic of bees. Because as it turns out, bees don't come in just one size, and especially not as they begin their lives. So these are baby bees. We call this brood. You got your girl bees called workers, you got your boy bees called drones, and the hexagons that these baby bees are raised in are all very different, as you see here. And then there's another kind of magic altogether, and that's what goes on when the bees make a new queen. But us humans, with our big brains and our opposable thumbs, we fear nothing like we fear inconvenience. And so, beekeeping began to be more about beekeepers, not so much about bees. Hives became square boxes, easily stacked. Bees were given square frames and that pre-printed foundation to use as the heart and skeleton of their nest. This did not make sense to us. So when we started thinking about thinking outside this box, we felt that the first thing we needed to do was to put the bees back into beekeeping. We started to pay closer attention to what bees did without beekeepers, and we can tell you there are 3 very important things that bees do without any encouragement from us at all. Here's thing 1. Bees make more bees. Contrary to Hollywood's horror stories, swarming is the amazing, if somewhat startling thing, the way that one colony of bees turns itself into 2. If bees didn't do this, with all the recent problems with bees, we'd be all out of bees by now. This is the first swarm I ever went up a ladder after. This is thing 2. Bees pollinate all the stuff we eat. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, herbs, all these plants need bees. Pollination is the plant's way of reproducing. It's a symbiotic relationship that the plants have developed with bees. We think they had a good idea. And then there's thing 3. Bees make honey. Oddly enough, honey is what honeybees eat. And honeybees are smart. They know to make lots of food during times of plenty for those times when there is no food. But us humans, remember, big brains, opposable thumbs, we put a lot of energy into helping bees do what they already do. And sometimes our helping makes a mess. Healthy bees do all those important things that bees do without any coaxing or cajoling or forcing or manipulating. So the important thing for us humans to do would be to focus on healthy honeybees. we think it's not about the honey, it's about the bees. So how does that translate into our right livelihood? Well, at Gold Star Honeybees, we believe that we build a better beehive. This is a picture of our Gold Star top bar hive. We know that really it's just another box, and we hope one day we'll learn to think outside of this box too. But for now, it's pretty convenient, and it's easy, and it's green. It's even ergonomically friendly for beekeepers. But more importantly, it works for bees, not against bees. The bees that live in this box make their own beeswax in their own way. They make the cells the right sizes, and they put them in the right places. So this is a box full of beeswax made by bees for bees. You might say that they are mining their own beeswax. Since that beeswax functions as both the skeleton and the heart of the colony, we think it's hugely important that it be as the bees need it to be. And anytime that us humans, right, big brains, opposable thumbs, anytime we're tempted to think that we've come up with something new and improved, well, maybe we ought to think again. At Gold Star Honeybees, we really feel like we've found our heart. We know that we're out to save the world. We're going to do it by saving the bees. So here's our message to you. Do what you like what you do. Because when you follow your heart, the rest of it, that all comes together. And then we'd like to leave you with this one thought about the world and the way it works. Ready? This is how you can help save the bees and save the world without sticking your hands into a box full of stinging insects. Just live your life knowing that if you tug at a single thing in nature, you're going to find that it's attached to everything else. Everything else.
Those are some sharp boots you got on there, sister. Yeah. Lots of bugs in the world, a lot more than us. Bees are good.